All right, we continue on. I took the back box off, took the counter shaft out of it, rolled the box over horizontal again. That way I made my stand, I can rotate it 90 degrees, so it just works out slick. Just use the engine crane to stand it up and flip it over. Went ahead, got the reverse idler shaft in there. So, yeah, the bearings are loose on the counter shaft, so that's going to clunk. But all in all, I can start assembling the main shaft and pushing it in the back here. I did get the bearings put in the input shaft and race on the main shaft. I'll show you that here. All right, main shaft, race is on there, snap ring, make sure it can't fall off. And over here, there's the fucking roller put in there, snap ring holding that in. So we are on to final assembly. So let me get some of that stacked up and I'll bring you back. Okay, little update. Assembling main shaft in box. Yeah. Not overly hateful to do. Got the crane was holding on to the back of that because you have to set each piece in there separately as you put the shaft through it. And you ain't holding on to that and putting all those and lining up the splines and the oil holes. Yeah, without some help. So strap on there, got it in there. Put the lock ring on the front. I thought I was good. I realized something ain't right. Yeah, I had that slider in backwards. So start all over, pull it apart, pull everything off, turn the slider around, put it all back on there, and there's a little Woodruff key underneath the bushing for this gear. And there's where's the shim? Shim's back here. Yeah, you got to line that little Woodruff key up with the shim so the shim turns with the gears. And then the sleeve that's underneath here locks onto that. Well, you can't see any of it, so all you can do is try to keep spinning it around and finding it because you can't put it together as one piece. You got to put the sleeve on, then the gear, and then you move everything, and then it spins, and then you lose track. And anyhow, I've been at it for about an hour trying to get this thing back together, but for my first time, I got lucky. Now, and I had to take it apart and put it together, and now I can't get it to line up. So I'll bring you back when it's relatively ready to wire tie the back bolts, and it'll be relatively good to go to stand back up again, put the back box on. So I'll bring you back. All right, welcome back. All right, got it together. It's all nice and smooth and quiet. No slop. I ended up marking that the sleeve on the end, the Woodruff key had rolled a little bit. That's why I couldn't get it together. So once I took the gears off the end of it, paint sticked everything, rechecked the Woodruff key was straight, click, 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 click. It all slipped right on there. There's the final, where's it at? Yeah, there's, just barely see it. This is a separate key that locks under here that locks the lock ring on here from turning. It's half locked behind one of the splines. And anyhow, so no lash, no click. Pretty happy with it. So now on to the next step. I'm not sure if they want you to put the input in it or put the back box on, but we'll do a little reading and we'll be back. All right, next update. It's together. I don't know how, but once I got all that shaft put together, came around the back here and torqued and wire tied. Yeah, I'm not exactly an aircraft mechanic for wire tied, but it ain't gonna come off. Input shaft, put the little oil pump in there, new spigot bearing in there, and man, does that turn nice. Just sliders engaged, do everything they're supposed to. So I think it's time to stand it up on end again so we can get the back box back on it. Get them shafts set on there. And hot dog, I think we're going to have something. So we'll keep pressing on, and I'll bring you back when we got something more. I thought I'd show you my little jig setup here and how this works. Yeah, it's going to make some noise here, but anyhow, we'll get her rotated up. And these bolts go in here. And the other one goes over here again. As long as you get it dead on. Anyhow, so once I get them tightened down, I'll show you putting the box on there. So we'll bring you back. Okay, we're at that magic moment. Gasket tacked down to there. Shafts, a little bit of grease, just enough to keep it smooth. Got that painted. Everything's clean, good to go. I noticed just ever so slightly the step in them gears, and I was a little concerned. Then I realized that's a twin bearing, and that'll pull upward and put the clearance back in there. So, because right now it's just sitting on that shaft. So anyhow, scared me at first. I'm like, how's that one right? So anyhow, I need about 3 hands, so we'll bring you back when it's sitting on there. Be back. All right, rig back up. Bolts are out of it. Time to swing her down for the last time. Put the back end on it, flange, and keeps getting a little heavier every time. She's leaning against the garage door, but you'll have that once I get it pulled back. Get her about level, and yeah, it's running into everything. A little more. Pretty close, but she's running into stuff, so I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, I got my third hand back. I can hold the camera and talk, and things were getting hung up down here on the crane, and it was sitting there and wiggled around, got the bolts in it. She's all bolted together. The only thing it's missing is the double bearing down here, so that'll pull in tight and line those gears back up, because it was, like 1/8 of an inch off. But anyhow, just a little click, no more 1/4 inch. So the back box, I'm fixing the shift rails in it, put bushings in them, tighten it up a little bit. Main box I think is okay because the shifter mounts here and it's just got rails, and I don't think there's any problem with those, but it come a long way. I got the new carrier for my throwout bearing, need to swap that around, but other than that, it's back in one piece. So I'll if I get a few other things buttoned up here, I'll bring you back. Okay, another update, a few more things handled. Got rear bearing cap on, all glued down, ready to go. I also installed one of the PTO covers. That one I replaced a number of years ago due to the other one being rusted out, the original ones. And went to grab the other one after I cleaned it. And lo and behold, it's got a crack in it. It's not looking too pretty on the other side, but you really can't see the crack. But it was no doubt leaking. So got one of those on order. So once I get that other cover on, I can set the case back down horizontal and continue on with getting the lids installed, which that was a project I finished up tonight at work. If we come over here, brass bushings installed. Yeah, they're only supposed to have, I don't know, 5 or so thousandths clearance, maybe 10 at the worst. Yeah, these things had like 30 slop up and down. They were pretty bad. So I didn't too much worry about inside, but out here where the seals were at, I wanted to make sure them things weren't flopping around and leaking again. So I got second bushing put in tonight. Nice. So both of those are ready to go. Get the arms put back on and put the seals in it. And I can, once I get the PTO cover, should get it here the first of the week. Get that glued on, get the case turned back horizontal, and get a new seal for this. That one's not very old, but I'm in it. Might as well replace it. Took the throwout bearing off the old carrier, and I don't know. It seemed like it kind of wanted to fall apart when I pressed it apart. So that's getting new also. So that'll be in the beginning of the week. And the yoke, I put a speedy sleeve on it. I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years ago, whenever it was leaking like a sieve. Got a new speedy sleeve. That one's not bad. It's got a little bit of a line in it. No sense putting it back in. There's my new throwout carrier, all cleaned up. Fitting for that. Fork for the rear cover. Those and all that go to on the main box and go back to shift the back box. So that's where all that stuff goes. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of parts left. Yeah, that's ready to go. This stuff will be ready to go. And the main lid, yeah, that's sitting over here. Not really sure, other than giving her another bath maybe. You know, I don't really think it's bad. It didn't leak, didn't have any issues with shifting, had plenty of lube, where that other external one, you know, is exterior. And so I really don't think there was anything wrong with this stuff. The forks aren't ate up or anything. So I need to get gasket paper, because that was the one thing that did not come in the gasket kit, was the lid for the main box. Got one for the back box. Why, I don't know, but so I need to get a big piece of paper to get cut for that before that's glued on. So anyway, we'll get this thing put together, and maybe we'll at least just set it on the box and see if the shift forks work and everything's good. And I will bring you back when we got a few more things bolted together. So we'll see you next time. Well, I had a little time, and I can't do much else with putting the yoke on and the other PTO to stand it up. So I got the back box lid assembled, and I went ahead and just threw everything on, put shifters on it, and everybody seems to be home where they're supposed to be. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to be a lot better. Granted, the shifter balls, I played with those a few years ago, welding up pins and kind of tightening the things up a little bit. They're not perfect or new, but they were better. You know, I put new pins in the clevises. I need to blast those arms yet, but anyhow, just playing around, I figure I'd give myself a little look into the future here and see what I got. So anyhow, everything seems happy. It'll probably be a little better once I get some lube in her. She's a little clunky and stiff, but anyhow, all the gears turn, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I'll get the rest of the pieces here the first of next week, and get this thing laid back down and get the lids put on it for good. And we're working our way towards getting it back in the truck. I don't know exactly when, but once it's painted and ready to rock and roll here in the next, I don't know, week or so, we'll find a warm day and make plans to do it. So anyhow, I'll bring you back when we got another update. All right, coming up to the end of the race here. We got new rear seal, speedy sleeve, and a throw-out bearing. I'll get those put on tonight. Got the old parts laying here. Knock that out, cut that off, and we'll be able to bolt those pieces on. The other day, I was out here for a minute, and I started rattle canning some primer on it just to get it covered up. I got the shift rods blasted. I also rebushed that shift rod. Same thing that I did there, because these things were like super loose. So I did the one. The other one was still pretty snug. So that'll get rid of a little bit of slop. The only thing I'm really concerned about is this one. This one. This one. This and this. The holes are just worn enough. It probably won't mean anything, but you know, I'm just trying to make it the best it can. But other than that, it does function. Everything goes where it's supposed to. So The only thing that kind of concerns me yet is, 60-year-old towers. I've had these apart, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years ago. And I did a little finesse on them and tried to tighten them up. Other than trying to find some NOS ones or doing something that's to replace them, I have to go with what I got. And that stuff comes off the top, if I want to fix it some other day. But I'll get that seal changed around. I can get that bolted on. Once I get that bolted on for good, I've got the paper to cut the gasket for that cover. I've got that one glued down. It's all torqued down and ready to rock and roll. So, a few things left to do. I'll see if I can get that back in put together tonight. And then get cut paper and get this bolted on this weekend maybe. Finish up on the primer, paint job, and then I'm just trying to figure out what color I'm going to make it. Mac kind of had a grayish green color back in the day, almost like a Detroit Alpine green looking kind of thing, but I may just paint it gold to match the motor and just call it good enough. So anyhow, we'll get to working on it, and I'll bring you back when she's a little farther along. Okay, update for today. I cut out a gasket for the main box lid. Got that all done. Get ready to glue that down for the final time. I did get the throwout bearing installed, new fork, return spring. Nice and stiff, works good. So I already pumped it full of grease through the feed hole over there on that pipe. And that's all been greased, throwout arm, all the new needle bearings I put in there and the new seals. So that's all new. And I did get the companion flange on. Everything's done back there. So once I get the lid on, get the shift levers all cleaned up, we'll bring you back, and I'll get some paint, get her all one color. She'll be ready to go back in the truck. So pretty excited at this point. So I'll bring you back here shortly. Okay, about the last update on this. It's all together. It's all primed. I got two items. Got some gold, same Rust-Oleum I put on the engine. Likely just going to use that. Or else I come up with something here this weekend. I think we're just going to bomb it gold. And I also got some 239S Super Lube from Schaefer's. Through some connections and some information. That is about the closest thing you can get to what they put back in this things back in the day. Close enough for me. So I put about 4 gallons in there, give or take. I haven't measured it, but filled it up to just about fill the plug, poured it at the top. So it's about ready to go back in. So I'll call this a wrap for the most part. Maybe I'll get a shot in here after I paint it. Weather's supposed to break this weekend, so I may hang it by the engine crane out here in the driveway and put some gold on it. So other than that, she's ready to put back in the truck. So up to this point, we're good to go. I may put a couple of pictures in here later in this video. So other than that, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Okay, next update. I picked up some gold paint. Same paint coat as I put on the 237 a few years ago, but I don't know, it just don't seem like it's the same. Kind of a dull color, but I don't know. Good enough for who it's for. It not the factory correct color, but I don't know. I've never gotten points taken off at a truck show before, so I'm not worried about it today. But I still got to get the strap off of it and touch up the areas that I didn't get, put a second coat on it, the whole thing. But beyond that, pretty much ready to set on the jack and get slipped back underneath the truck again. So that's all I got for today. So I'll bring you back once it's in there. Thanks again.